Good evening, dear participant and all my dear lovely students. Once again, on behalf of IA Thane branch, I, Dr. Nishikant Jha, welcoming you all, being the General Secretary of IA Thane branch. Dear student and dear participant, it was your long demand since, more than 3 or 4 weeks that something on partnership should be started. And today we are coming up with entire partnership which will be helpful for SYJC student in Mumbai University as well as SYBCom, SYBAF, wherever there is a partnership final account with admission, retirement, and death of partners. So together, and you are going to learn in a very effective manner. Dear student, it has been really stated and said that दो बातें यानी when there are two partners or more than two partners things should be there. वैसे ही अपने जिंदगी में दो चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट करती है. दो बातों पे नियंत्रण है जरूरी. दो बातों पे नियंत्रण है जरूरी. आमदनी पर्याप्त ना हो. आमदनी पर्याप्त ना हो तो खर्चा कम. आमदनी पर्याप्त ना हो तो खर्चा कम. और जानकारी पर्याप्त ना हो तो चर्चा कम. बट आज के सेशन में आप देखेंगे ये दोनों बातों को हम लोग दरकिनार करेंगे क्योंकि यहाँ पे जानकारी बहुत ही अच्छी है. हमारे जो रिसोर्स पर्सन है वो बहुत ही रिनॉन स्पीकर हैं. उन्हें मोर देन अ डिकेड एक्सपीरियंस है इन टीचिंग, लर्निंग एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. She is none other than Dr. Neelam Shaikh from Joshi Vedekar College, Thane. And she has taken earlier also session on consolidation of balance sheet, holding and subsidiary for PG student, which has been very highly appreciated by everyone. My dear student, I believe once you will attend this today's session of partnership final account, you are going to make your base for not only SYJC, but also for your entire UG curriculum. Because this is the topic which is repeatedly there in financial accounting syllabus as far as Mumbai University concerned, and we are definitely sure it might be there in other university syllabus as well. It is also a part of all professional courses syllabus. So with these note, once again, as you know, here also we have a lot many partners, lot many members, lot many people who are assisting this IA Thane branch and making it one of the renowned, one of the best branch across India. So I welcome our chairperson of the IA Thane branch, chairman of IA Thane branch, Dr. Arvind Luhar sir. We were missing him since last two sessions. We were desperately waiting for his noble ideas, his views on different subjects with some stories. So let's here presenting you Dr. Arvind Luhar sir, who is the chairman Board of Studies Accountancy as well as chairman IA Thane branch. Over to you, Arvind sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nishikant Jha, General Secretary, Indian Accounting Association, and Dr. Kuldeep Sharma, Treasurer, Indian Accounting Association, and our today's resource person and the student, Miss Jane, who is assisting today's resource person in the PPT handling. The topic selected for today's online lecture is final account, and generally this topic is in majority of the state board at the 12th standard, and likewise it is for the second year, the junior college student also in the Maharashtra state board students. Dear student, final account is the ultimate destination of the transaction. The whatever transaction takes place, first it is a journal entry, then it is a ledger, then it is a trial balance, and the summary of the trial balance, it will be reflected in the final account by way of your trading account, profit and loss account, and the balance sheet. And the resource person will also brief you that the what are the accounting items which are going to your trading account, profit and loss account, profit and loss appropriation account. Okay, then your the balance sheet. Okay, and why the balance sheet tally. So all these the IQ level, the questions he may ask you to students. And now what is the adjustment? Why when trial balance is already there, then what is the needs of the adjustment? क्यों होना चाहिए adjustment? So that answer will also be given by the resource person, because generally, see, whenever we are doing the manual, the journal entry, your ledger, your subsidiary, your trial balance, your final account, because assume that the computer is not there, and we are uh, now dealing with, or we are in the time period of the 20 to 30 years before, when the computer was not there. So when all the transactions was handwritten, but we have to prepare our books of account as on 31st March every year. That is what uh, our the financial closing year. So in order to close, or we have to prepare our books of account ready on 31st March every year. So generally the books of account, your the ledger, subsidiary book, they are the close just the 1 month or 2 months before, where the transactions of the company is in the crores. So if today is the 31st March, and immediately today you cannot close the books of account. So generally you will close the books of account at least the 1 month in advance. But now we are dealing all the transaction with the computer. Now you will not find anything as an adjustment. But since we are dealing with the theoretical aspect, so what is adjustment? Adjustment are the pending period transaction, because now you have already closed your the ledger, your subsidiary book, but you cannot close your business. No. Now assume that on your the 1st March you have started closing your books of account, but just for the sake of the closing your books of account, you cannot postpone your buying selling. Otherwise, how you will the pay the salary, how you will incur the expenditure. So the transaction will continue, but books of account are closed. So those transactions which are continue, but books of account are already closed. So that pending period transactions are known as adjustment, and every adjustment has a two effect, one debit and one credit. So now, because all these things your resource person will discuss, but as the Nishikant and Kuldeep, they always want that I should speak on the topic in the some way or other way. Then I will also come to, because see the today all our students, they generally they are from the Maharashtra State Board, and students they are the very this thing well versed with the basic knowledge, and generally they are interested for it. See why the trading account is open, why the profit and loss account is open, why the profit and loss appropriation account is open, why the balance sheet is open. Okay, in books what is mentioned, but generally we as a teacher, the experienced teachers, when they deal with it, so how they will explain. तो कोई भी अभी ये जो आपका फाइनल अकाउंट है, ये मैन्युफैक्चरर का नहीं है, ये ट्रेडर का है. ये आपके मैन्युफैक्चरर का फाइनल अकाउंट नहीं है, ट्रेडर का है. तो ट्रेडर व्हाट दे डू, दे रेडीमेड परचेज, और वो रेडीमेड बेच देते. तो जो सामान खरीदा उसको कहां रखेंगे, गोडाउन में रखेंगे, जो खरीद के लाया. तो जो सामान गोडाउन के लिए, जो गोडाउन की एक्टिविटीज को रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए जो अकाउंट बनेगा वो होगा ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट. अब ऑफिसर्स आपके गोडाउन में तो नहीं बैठ सकते, सो देयर विल बी वन ऑफिस, देयर विल बी वन ऑफिस. तो ऑफिस के ट्रांजेक्शंस को रिकॉर्ड करने के लिए देयर विल बी अ प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. अब गोडाउन और ऑफिस दोनों की पोजीशन के लिए देयर विल बी अ बैलेंस शीट. सो इफ आई आस्क कि भाई आपका वर्कर कहां काम करता है, तो इमीडिएटली यू विल से, मैंने बोलूंगा वर्कर आपके ऑफिस में काम करता है कि गोडाउन में करे, तो यू विल से इन गोडाउन. तो वर्कर को सैलरी देते कि वेजेस देते, तो यू विल से वेजेस. सो वेजेस वेयर विल बी रिकॉर्डेड, it will be recorded in trading account because it is a go down activity. If I will ask officer, where the officer sit, in go down or in office, so he will say office. For office purpose, what we open? We open profit and loss account. So salary will be recorded in profit and loss account debit side because it is an expense. So very simple it is. ओके इट इज वेरी सिंपल. अब आपने परचेज किया, तो परचेज किया तो सामान को कहां रखोगे? गोडाउन में. सो दैट्स व्हाई द परचेज विल कम इन योर गोडाउन, दैट इज द ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट. या अभी आपने सेल किया, तो सेल कहां से किया? आपने जो गोडाउन से किया, तो आपका क्रेडिट व्हाट गोज आउट वहां पे आ जाएगा. लाइकवाइज योर बैड डेट. अब बैड डेट जो है आपका सेल करने का डिसीजन किसने लिया? Salesman ने लिया. Where the salesman sit? He sits in the office. He does not sit in the godown. So it is a office expenditure. So likewise, you people can identify. Like your the profit and loss is there, then profit and loss appropriation account is there. Why we open the profit and loss appropriation account? Generally, profit and loss appropriation account is open to record those transactions which are taking place between the business and businessmen, like the salary to partner, interest on capital, then the drawings of the partner. So all these transactions which is taking place in between the business and businessman, that will be recorded in your profit and loss account. And one more transaction which will be recorded in your profit and loss account, that is what? Some errors which are committed previously 2-3 years back. 2-3 साल पहले कुछ गलती होगी और वो गलती अभी हमको करंट ईयर में पता चली. उस गलती की वजह से या तो प्रॉफिट होगा या लॉस होगा. व्हेन यू विल रेक्टिफाई दैट एरर. तो अब वो प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस है, दैट इज ऑफ द लास्ट ईयर, दैट इज नॉट ऑफ द करंट ईयर. तो इनकम टैक्स अथॉरिटी विल नॉट अलाउ यू. अब प्रॉफिट हुआ तो आप उसमें रिकॉर्ड नहीं करेंगे बिकॉज यू हैव टू पे द मोर टैक्स. लॉस हुआ तो इनकम टैक्स विल डिपार्टमेंट विल नॉट अलाउ टू रिड्यूस योर द प्रॉफिट. सो ऑल the profit and loss effect of the rectification entries will be recorded in your profit and loss appropriation account. I will not take your much of the time, otherwise आप लोग सोचोगे कि आज का रिसोर्स पर्सन मैं ही हूं. It should not happen. So I extend my the heartiest thanks to the today's resource person, Dr. Neelam Shaikh. She is a brilliant teacher. She is a NET JRF. और मैं आपको बोलूं कि जिस समय नीलम ने नेट जेआरएफ किया है, उस समय शायद ऑल ओवर इंडिया में कॉमर्स में हार्डली 5 या 7 लोगों को नेट जेआरएफ मिलता था. और उस समय उसने जेआरएफ किया. जेआरएफ इज वो एक आपके आईएएस आईपीएस का कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम क्लियर करने के बराबर होता है. सो आई बिलीव दैट शी इज द वन ऑफ द ब्रिलियंट टीचर, क्योंकि उसके क्रेडिट में है जो जूनियर रिसर्च आपका फेलोशिप है. और शायद अगर उसने पीएचडी जेआरएफ से की होगी तो वो एसआरएफ भी होगी. ओके, सो द टुडे द इंडियन अकाउंटिंग एसोसिएशन हैज इनवाइटेड द वेरी द ब्रिलियंट human resource of our country, which is MCOM, PhD, and the NET JRF. And I believe that she is the most appropriate person to deal with this topic. Now I request Dr. Nishikant Jha to take the session in his hand and continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your words of wisdom. And yes, it is once again a disclaimer. Sir is not the resource person. Sir is just a keynote speaker. Sir ने आपको just brief करा topic के बारे में about partnership final account, where the transaction to be recorded in trading account or profit and loss account or profit and loss appropriation account or in balance sheet, etc., etc. It will be dealt in a very systematic manner by today's resource person, none other than Neelam Shaikh. Another disclaimer not for the SYJC present student, but for the SYJC passed out student. Mumbai University portal has been already started. We have taken a lot of career counseling session. Kindly do online registration for different courses, which is very important for different colleges. It is purely free of cost. You need not have to pay a single penny. As per your whims and whims, where you want to take admission, which program you want to take admission, which course you wanted to take admission, which college you want to take admission, kindly go and fill your form and keep that printouts. They are very important. And when the schedule will come for applying to those respective colleges, why then accordingly you do it. Why we guiding you on this? Because many of students deprive of getting good colleges and good courses because they are not applying on a proper time. They are not registering on the proper time. So with this note, and many other university also has their own ways and methods for taking admission. Kindly go to their website. This is now everything online. Please go and check and make your career in a better and very positive way. And for present SYJC student, today's session is very, very important because in your exam, definitely there will be a question on partnership final account. 200% I can assure you. With these certain messages, with these notes, I would request our treasurer, IA Thane branch, Dr. Kuldeep Sharma, sir, who is also member board of studies for banking, insurance, investment management. Sir has also has more than 1 decade experience in teaching, administration, research in University of Mumbai to propose final vote of thanks. Over to you, Kuldeep sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving a brief introduction about me, though it was not required. But now it is really my pleasure, indeed my honor to deliver a vote of thanks for today's resource person as well as the speaker who are available here. I would like to first of all thank the chairman of our. Hello, I am audible properly?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Because I am getting some echo in my mic.
Might be some mic is
I think
on. Otherwise,
chairman of our Indian
yeah.
Accounting Association, Dr. Arvind Luhar sir, was also a Board of Studies Chairman of Accountancy, University of Mumbai, Academic Council member, University of Mumbai, and Head of Accountancy Department, Ismail Yusuf College, recognized PhD MPhil guide. So many degree he have. Sir, thank you very much for your keynote speech. How beautiful you are taking a session, because at the end we have to provide a disclaimer that you are not a resource person, and that shows that when you speak the entire world stops. This is what we feel, because when you give example, we always by heart your example, because that example always gives some life teaching to all of us. Sir, thank you for giving us support in conducting all various programs on a different topics, and you always supported us on each and every occasion. Thanks for being a chairman of our Indian Accounting Association. And finally, sir, today you spoke a lot about partnership accounting as well as accounting. Sir, thanks for your keynote address as well as your knowledge on accounting aspect, and making this evening wonderful. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to thank our General Secretary of Indian Accounting Association, Dr. Nishikant Jha, sir, who is a member of Board of Studies, Accounting and Finance, and as well as Financial Management, University of Mumbai, Executive Council member of Indian Economic Association, Head of Accountancy Department, Thakur College, for arranging this event and coordinating with Dr. Neelam Shaikh for this program. As we all know, Nishikant sir is one of the important pillar of our Indian Accounting Association Thana chapter. He only, always ready to take a challenge of a different kind. He always, asks a student what topic you want on which we can conduct a lectures, and it is a very, very appreciable that Nishikant sir, identify a best resource person from his field, so that we can provide a best to all our participants. Sir, thank you very much for arranging this level of program for our student. Now, I would like to thank today's resource person, Dr. Neelam Sheikh, for giving her valuable time for guiding our student on partnership final account in a simple way. Ma'am, we are thankful to you association. You have also taken a lecture on Indian Accounting Thana chapter platform previously, and tomorrow also you are taking a session. So, ma'am, thanks again for giving your so much time to us. We also hope that in future also we get the same kind of support from you. At the end, I thank my technical team, Vignesh, Kanik, Sajit, and Harshal for their continuous support from backstage. And I also thank our participants who are attending this lecture from various part of this country. Once again, thanks to each of you. Now I request Dr. Neelam Sheikh Madam to take or to start her session. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, Neelam ma'am, you are audible. And my dear, participant, I just wanted to give the brief about her qualification. As sir has rightly stated, she is NET JRF. She has also had a degree of GDCA, B.Ed, MBA, MCom, PhD, and she has also been, she has achieved felicitation on the occasion of International Women Day, 8 March 2020, by the hand of ACP Neeta Padvi Madam in the Thane Nagar Commissioner of Police, Thane, for the professional excellence in academics. So many congratulations, ma'am, for the recent award what you have received. And she has also in charge of college in the college regarding international study tour for UAE for consecutive 2 years for the such a reputed college of Joshi Wedeker, which is situated in Thane. She has also on her credit 13 research paper, and she is currently working for minor research project, University of Mumbai. And she is a proud and pride member of IA Thane branch. So she is from our family. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nishi sir. Respected Dr. Arvind Lohar sir, Chairman Accountancy, University of Mumbai, Chairman Indian Accounting Association Thane branch, I express my heartfelt gratitude sir for giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge with the students. Sir, you always inspire us through your dynamic leadership and knowledge of wisdom. Thank you, sir. I owe my gratitude to Dr. Nishikant Jha, sir, Secretary of Indian Accounting Association Thane branch, for motivating us to come up with such online platform and interact with the students. Uh, Really, very much thank you, sir, for giving an opportunity. I even sincere thanks to Dr. Kuldeep Sharma, sir, Treasurer of Indian Accounting Association Thane branch, for giving such a pleasant, introduction or thanking address. With this note, I, Dr. Neelam Sheikh, lifetime member of Indian Accounting Association Thane branch, feel proud and pleasure to take the UG lectures after receiving an overwhelming responses and requested from the PD lectures. Today, I am going to conduct a session on topic partnership final account. These sessions will be benefited to all those aspirants who are appearing for the HSC, SY BCom, SY BAF, for the academic year 2021. Now, before beginning with this our actual presentation, you all students are aware of financial partnership final account plays a really very important role in every company or a firm. As Dr. Arvind sir have rightly said, final account is ultimately destiny for every company. Like at the end of every financial year, they have to go with the preparation of the financial account, right? Before beginning, I have already conveyed this will be benefited to a lot many students, especially for HSC, those who are appearing and preparing for their exams, and for the SY BAF, BCom, these all are there in the syllabus of them. Uh, Next slide, please. Now, when we will move ahead with the another part, that means what content we are going to cover in our today's session. Let me make you first aware about what exactly the partnership is. First, we should know what exactly the partnership, final account, and all part we will definitely going to cover. But slowly today in our today's session, we are trying. I'm trying to cover here is your basic theoretical part along with the calculatives of all the ratios and all, right? So prior beginning with this, the entire partnership annual account, this entire topic has been split into two parts. Like part one will be taken today, and the part one two, the actual practical part, which we are going to cover our today tomorrow's session, right? Usually, whenever we go for preparation of financial accounting or maybe a partnership, so first let us see what is partnership and from where it generated or originated. You have already learned about preparation of account of sole proprietor form of business. But when a business is expanding, it goes beyond the capacity of one person to provide the capital and manage the affair of the expanded business. See, that means when the business started expanding, it becomes very difficult for a single person to continue the business, to start with the, to execute the business. For this, the partnership part have been come into arise, right? So here they need, or here a need is felt to combine his or her effort and capital with those of other person. This gives rise to the form of partnership organization, right? As far as the recording of business transaction in the book or original entry are concerned, their postings of ledger or preparation of final account or a financial statement are concerned, there is no differences. There is really no differences between a sole proprietor or a partnership firm. But let me make it very clear here, there are certain issues which are specific to partnership firm and require a separate accounting treatment. So these issues are, maybe what kind of issues it would be. The issues are shares on profit of the firm, okay, how much, on what proportion the shares are going to be shared, right? Treatment of goodwill on various occasions and so on. So to deal with all these issues, this lesson is totally focused on the issues which is actually related to the partnership firm. Else, if you will see, there is really no variation in the sole proprietor and the partnership. Only thing, when the partners get in, when the partners comes and a formation of partnership is done, in that case there are certain things which are specifically going to be taken into consideration. So you can see here in today's PPT, we are going to study about, okay, what exactly the partnership is, right? Then we'll see slowly what are the features which is connected to the partnership, the different types of partnership, what are the different types which is being going to be covered. Then next, if you will see, we are going to study about the different after partnership types, we'll see the partnership deed agreement which we usually see. Then next, we are also going to study about, okay, whether this partnership agreement or whether this partnership agreement can be amended. So that also we are going to see, in case certain amendment is needed on the agreement, so can the partnership can do that? So that we are going to see. And as per the Indian Partnership Act 1932, there are separate act has formed for partnership, right? And there is certain provision which is related to it. That also we are going to look upon in today's session. Then how a particular partnership firm get registered, right? And after that, we are going to study about a very, very important, content, that is reconstitution of partnership firm. Let me make it very clear, reconstitution पे आपके 4 chapters बन सकते हैं. जैसे when we say reconstitution, there are admission, retirement, death, then amalgamation of or merger of two firms. So reconstitution part is our major part in our today's session. Then we are also going to see about the ratios through which we are supposed to calculate when any of the changes is happen in the profit sharing ratios. We also going to take care of, like, what are the treatment or on goodwill we are supposed to do when any new partners or any partnership has been happened. There are certain methods of capital account that also we are going to look upon, and we will take care today about some illustration connected to it. So that we'll proceed with the next slide. Here in the next slide, you can see what exactly the partnership is. Now here you can observe, when we say a partnership, right? So it is a form of business where two or more persons are going to be share and come together, work together. They will share their responsibilities, they manage their companies, or also they see about their incomes, right? Here the diagrammatically through I have already explained, okay, when we say a partnership, it's not only a single partnership. Here you will see they are going to come up with the membership, right? They are going to come up with the going through with the voluntary registration. They'll also work on the continuity. The business should be in a continue or the continuous process. Then there should be a contractual relationship among them. There will be a transfer of interest among one or another partner. There will be also a mutual, agencies through which they have to connect with it. There are sharing of profit and loss, and at the end, very very important, there are unlimited liability, and those liability are supposed to be shared among the partners, those who are working together in a business or in a firm. Next, we will see here after partnership, what exactly. The next slide will give you the idea about the features. Okay, what exactly it is connected to it, right? When we say features of partnership, now once the partnership is formed or they are going to start working together, there you can observe. In that case, you can observe. Okay, there are both the partners who are working together with having a certain features, and that features you can able to identify, like they have to work together, they have to take the decision jointly, right? So joint decision making is the prior important in every business or on organization or a firm. Next is, you can see here what about the members, right? So if you will see, to run any partnership business, right, there will be a two members minimum which is needed. The earlier slide, please. The two members which is needed. And the next is, in case of members in the banking section, if you will go for partnership, there will be a 10 members. And in case of business which is running, so there also you can see it is a 10 members, right? Along with that, you can also observe that the equal risk is supposed to be get shared among each partner, as they are working together in a jointly as a partnership firm. So it's mandatory for them, it's to share the liability also on the proportion which is being decided earlier in the agreement, as well as they are supposed to take care of the risk, or is also supposed to be shared among everybody on the proportion, either equally or whatever has been given in the agreement, right? We'll proceed to the next slide, where we are talking about the different types of partnership. Student, this is very important. When we talk about types of partnership, usually it comes in mind ke general partnership and limited partnership. There are one more which is called as joint venture. So that, as per the syllabus of the HSC and the SY, or maybe BCom and BAF students, so that joint venture part was not there. So I am covering here only the two specific major important partnership, that is general partnership and limited partnership. Now let me make it very clear what exactly this general partnership is all about. When we say a general partnership, here you will observe, or you may find that there are again a considering of a general partnership where two or more people who will come together, run their business. As usual, we know about the partnership definition, right? But here in general partnership, what happens? The entire partners are involved in the business operation and share their liability, and shares their liability on the business obligation. Means they can have a whole right to work together, involved in all the business operation, as well as they shares their liability of the business organization or obligations. But when we see a limited partner, the entire definition of general partnership will be remain similar. Only the changes which is there in the limited partnership is, here one partner should be the limited partner. Now why that partner is called as a limited partner? Reason is, that partner will definitely contribute the capital as other partners do contribute, but the only thing is that partner will not work actively in the firm. He will be act as a, we can say a passive partners, which we usually say, right? And the limited partner contribute the capital, but do not get involved in the everyday functioning of the business. He will not involved in the everyday functioning. That's why his liability is also limited. So this is the major differences which you can observe in both the cases. In general partnership, as we discussed here, it was a partnership where both the partners, or two or three partners, whoever may be there in the partnership firm, They work together, they bring the capital, they used that capital, they function all the daily activities, and at the end they share the risk, and even they along with the risk they share the liability as well. But in limited partnership, the only difference you may find, the one partner would be a limited partner who bring capital, but he will not involve in the active functioning of the partnership for any activity, right? And at the end, you can even observe the partner who has not given the input in the activity, so he will also not ready to take the risk, not ready to take the liability. So you may find in limited partnership, the limited partner's liability will be always limited. So this is the major partnership which is there in your syllabus, which I have tried to explain here. Next, we will move towards the after partnership, we will go with the partnership deed. Now, whenever we say any partnership is formed, any people come together and work, right? So there are certain need or arises of going through with an agreement. Why this agreement is usually needed, right? That we are going to understand today. When we say a partnership deed, as I've told you, it's a documentary outlines, or where every detail will be mentioned in terms of what are the rights and responsibility of a partners will be, what are the parties in the business operation, they deal with it, and what are the law which is connected to it, what are the designation of the partner. These all things will be definitely mentioned in the deed, right? Then why there is a need of going for partnership deed if the business can work together without the deed also? The reason is, by having the partnership deed, any partner disputes, if it is arise in future, may be avoided. That will be having in a form of a legal way, in a documentation, if it is having with the partnership firm, so that they will not arise any issues or any disputes in future. So usually that's why you may find as per the even Indian Partnership Act also, they specifically connect to go through what's with the partnership deed. So this is about partnership deed is. Next we can see a sample pro forma which is of partnership deed. So here you can see, here I have shown 100 paper stamp, notary paper which has been mentioned and seen here. This is called as the deed of partnership agreement, right? Now, what this deed will cover? This deed will cover the name and address of the firm, its main business. Even you can see in this deed, it is has been clearly mentioned the name and address of the partners as well, and the duration of the partnership. Okay, how long this duration of partnership will exist, right? Even in this deed, or they are supposed to mention the capital which has been introduced or bring by the partners, right? Each contribution of the partners can be mentioned, on what ratios their shares will going to be distributed or shared, that also going to be specified in this in their deed. The rights and duties are clearly mentioned in the deed, so that the further issues or disputes can be avoided. The liabilities which they are going to be take it, that liabilities are also very clearly mentioned. There will be also a possibility of mentioning in case of provision related to the admission, retirement, and death of a partner, right? Okay, in case in future, or maybe while the business is running, at that moment, if any new partners get admitted or any earlier partner get retired or any occurrence of the death happen, so that all things has been already mentioned in this particular deed. Rate of interest on capital or loan or drawing, these all things are also clearly specified in the deed. And finally, how the account will be get settled is being mentioned in, and so on, related to the entire partnership is considered. So this is all about, we talk about the content which are being covered under the partnership deed. Next we can proceed for the further with the next slide, where you can able to see, after partnership deed, is there is a possibility of making certain amendment in this. Amendment is nothing but any further changes if it is arise in the partnership form, right? So usually when we say the amendment, it's nothing but the changes in future if it is, right? So yes, there is a definitely possibility where you can go for the amendment in the partnership agreement. So what sort of possibility or the occasion where we can see the amendment on the partnership agreement can possible? So here it is mentioned, the very first is change in business activity. If you find the activity of business has been changed, now they are moving on to some another activity. So again, in any changes which is happen in the business activity, they have to go for the fresh new agreement. Any changes in case of in or the name or place of the business. Earlier, the firm was running in some other area or places, and now it maybe have been shifted or changed. So that also have to be, in that case also certain amendment or changes can be made in the agreement. Again, the capital contribution by the partners in case of the capital has been increased or maybe reduced, or maybe any new partner comes in, some additional capital he brings. So again, that slight changes of or amendment can be possible to be made in the partnership agreement. सेम वे आप एक और देख सकते हो, व्हेन द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ पार्टनरशिप इज चेंज. मान लो कभी अगर ड्यूरेशन, द पार्टनरशिप ड्यूरेशन as they are trying to change it or make certain variation in that, then also you may find there will be a possibility of going for the amendment of agreement changes. Management structure change, maybe the authoritative person has been changed or promotion or posted on another. So in that case also you may find the managerial structure change. Again, there can be having a amendment. There even possibility of terms or conditions slightly, if any terms or conditions has been changed, then also the partnership firm or partners or can go for the amendment of the agreement. Sharing of ratio is very very important. The seventh point is very very important. Whenever there will be a possibility of change in profit sharing ratio, कभी भी प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो अगर चेंज होता है, then definitely that changing agreement should be mentioned in the deed, right? And any of the modification of any rights and liabilities of the partner, any of the liabilities or the rights of the partners has been changed, so in that case also you may find the amendment can be made on the agreement. Moving ahead to the another slide where we could understand the further part where till now we have covered what is partnership deed, what are the content which covered by the partnership and deed, as well as the amendment which can be made on the partnership agreement, right? Now when we say a partnership act, as I told you earlier also, okay, the Indian Partnership Act 1932 is specifically formed by for the partnership firm only, right? Where you can see in section 1, section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act talks about like partnership is a relationship between a person who have agreed to share the profit of a business carried on by all. That means all the partners are supposed to carry, work on it, and act any of them acting for all. That indicates or either any one person is representing the entire partnership firm, right? So this is the actual definition of the partnership act as per partnership as far as the Indian Partnership Act 1932 is considered. Here the partners means what? Who are they? So that also have specified in a keyword separately. If partners means a person who is voluntarily entering in the partnership firm as an individual. So this is one thing. When we say firm, all the partner was work together in a firm collectively, then it will be known as a firm. It created automatically as a firm. Firm name means what? The name under which the business is carried, the name under which the firm is known in the market, right? So that is nothing but we call as the firm name, right? So these all things has been mentioned in the Partnership Act 1932. Let's see the provision which is laid down under the Partnership Act. So in the next slide now you can see here the provision of the Partnership Act. Now, in these provisions, there are specifically, I have mentioned all 6 provisions. The very first thing, how the profit will be distributed among the partners. Very important, we have to see how this profit, which is going to be shared among the partner, how it will be worked, right? The next you can see here is the interest on drawing, right? Okay, how the interest on drawing is to be calculated. Okay, that also you can you have to see here in this. Then the next provision is interest on partners loan. When we say the any loan is taken by any of the partners, so what would be the calculative part of the interest? So that we are going to see here. The next again next is the interest on capital. The capital which is bring by the partners, how their interest is going to be, work on. So that also we have to see here. Then salary or commission to our partners. And next is any admission of a new partner. See, here students keep this six provision very importantly in your mind. Reason is, okay, on the basis of all these six provision, whenever you go for calculation of any final account problem, on the basis of if the partners retired, how the final account is being created, if admitted, how the final account is being going to be prepared. So these all things you will definitely see as a working note calculations, right? I'll repeat it again. The very first thing is how the profit is being distributed, the interest is calculated on drawing, on partner's loan, on partner's capital, salary or the commissions to the partner will be given on what calculation which is already being mentioned in the problem itself, and the admission of a new partner. So this plays very important role. Moving ahead to the next, where you can see how this partnership firm is being get registered. अब ये partnership firm registered कैसा होता है? What are the different steps to go for the registration of the partnership firm? Now here you can see I have mentioned there are 5 steps. Okay, let's start with the very first step which is mentioned here. The very first step talks about decide the terms. Terms means what? Your profit sharing ratio, what could be the salary, responsibility and rights, and the specific another other terms which is connected to the partnership firm. So the very first thing is we have to draft a proper proposal, a proper terms and conditions, right? After preparation or working on that terms or conditions, then we will go for the preparation of the draft, which is nothing but we called as an agreement, right? Agreement, or in partnership form we called it as a partnership deed. Okay, then next after this you can also see the next part which we are going through is the documents, right? So now what exactly the document, when we say here the documents in the sense like ID or Aadhaar, address proof, partners, office address of or proof of NOCs, right? This when we say a document, this we are talking about a document of the partners who are willing to work together in the partnership, right? So that will be your third step which you can see. And fourth, when we say any higher professionals in case of managing the accounts and dealing with the written files, and that could be possible. Okay, so the fourth step is the hiring of professional like CA, CS or lawyers, right? So that will be comes as your step number 4. And moving ahead, the last step, that is step number 5, is nothing but a PAN and bank. Now, what is this PAN and bank? PAN is the firm have to apply for the new PAN registered on the name of partnership firm, right? And they have to bank means they have to open the current account on the name of partnership firm. Okay, and then after reaching here, the last step, the firm is ready to start with the working or maybe start with the functioning of the partnership firm, right? So these are the major 5 steps. I'll repeat again. The very first thing, they have to first decide the terms, on what terms each and partner will come, what will be the rights, what are the responsibilities, what are their duties, who will handling what. These all terms should be get finalized. Once terms are finalized, we can move ahead with the preparation of the partnership deed. After deed finalization, the documentation part comes of each partners, right? Their ID proof, address, and that all comes under as a documentation. After that, the next 4th step is hiring professionals like CA, CS, and lawyers to handle the professional part, or maybe to handle the legal part or technical part related to forms is concerned. And the last, nothing, which is the preparation of PAN and bank on the name of partnership firm. After that, the company or the firm is ready for function. So this is what the procedure, how a partnership firm could be get registered. Okay. Now after this, we will go with the next slide where you can understand what are the reconstitution of the firm. Now here till here we have deal with what exactly the partnership is, partnership firm, then what are its features and what are the partnership deed, what Indian Partnership Act 32 says, amendments and everything, that basic part or the the theoretical term to make you understand and related to the partnership firm, that we have covered. Now slowly we are moving ahead to the technically part of the partnership firm. That is, the very first we talked about is reconstitution of firm. Now what is the reconstitution term indicates? When old agreement of a partnership comes to an end. Old partnership agreements is almost is ended, right? And the new agreement come into existence. It starts. So in that case, the reconstitution of firm is arrived. Okay. What sort of cases would be? But the firm continues. This is very important. Now usually we say कि ओल्ड अग्रीमेंट तो खत्म हो गया और नया हमने चालू किया, तो दैट इंडिकेट्स कि फर्म तो बंद हो गया ना, पार्टनरशिप फर्म स्टॉप्ड ना. नो, agreement ends, firm doesn't stop, firm doesn't discontinue, firm doesn't dissolve. The firm will be definitely be continued. Only the agreements end and the new agreement is exist. Okay, there you may find their business will remain same. Even the name of the firm also you may find it as same only, no changes. Only the internal partnership deed comes to an end, as I just now said. Only the deed ends, but firms will continue with the work which what he is doing. Okay, so this is not this is usually we talk about reconstitution of firm means. Now let's see what are the different situations or the modes of partnership firm. When we say a situation or a modes of reconstitution of partnership, here you have to understand very well, right? When we say mode of reconstitution of partnership, the very first thing is change in profit sharing ratio. Whenever in the partnership firm there is a changing in profit sharing ratio, reconstitution of partnership firm is arises. Whenever any new partner admitted, that means the second point, we say admission of new partner. Any new partners get admitted in the business, reconstitution of partnership. Retired, if any existing partner get retired, right, then also the firm's agreement has to be reconstituted. They have to prepared out. Death of the partner, any natural death occurs and due to which the partner died, right? So in the death of a partner also the reconstitution comes. Then I have mentioned here amalgamation of the partnership firm, we can call it as a merger also, merger of two firms. So when there will be a merger of two partnership firm, again there will be a reconstitution of partnership firm. So here we have total 6 reconstitution. Now each constitution we have to study very well. All these 6 reconstitution on the partnership forms plays very important role when you go with preparation of your partnership final account. So we will deal with each reconstitution and check what sort of changes is happening if each modes come into existence. Number one, next slide, you can see the very first reconstitution which we are taking, which is nothing but changing in profit sharing ratio, right? In case when the profit sharing ratio has changed, see here in the first case there is no new partner admitted, no retirement, nothing. हमने सिर्फ क्या किया है, the firm what they have did, they have changed the profit sharing ratio. Okay, now why there is a need to change the profit sharing? So sometimes the partner may decide to change their profit sharing ratio due to certain factors like their role in the firm has changed. Maybe earlier they played the role of some lower level of part. So now they may get some higher authority. So if whenever you may find there is certain change in the factors or a role of the firm, then definitely there is a possibility of going for changing the profit sharing ratio, right? Not only the role, there will be a possibility of there changes in कैपिटल कंट्रीब्यूशन हो सकता है कि अभी कैपिटल कंट्रीब्यूशन में चेंज हुआ, पहले ए बी सी ये तीन पार्टनर्स ने सबने 30,000 का कैपिटल कंट्रीब्यूट किया था, एंड नाउ दे आर contributing, maybe one of the partners is contributing 50,000 instead of 30. So again the capital contribution ratio proportion has changed. So definitely they needs to go for preparing the profit sharing ratio. So any changes in the old profit sharing ratio will with the amount of the reconstitution of the partnership firm. कुछ भी changes old profit sharing में हमने लाया वो immediately reconstitution of partnership firm में जाए. Okay. Next you can see here in the next slide. It was clearly mentioned regarding the change in profit sharing ratio. I have taken here one simple example. Let's take the example of changing in profit sharing ratio. Here we have an example of when there is a change in profit sharing ratio among the existing partners. Say existing partner is A, B and C. A, B, C existing partners है and their old ratio is 2:3:1. ये तीन three different partners have the different proportion. So old ratio is 2:3:1. They mutually agreed to change. Now they themselves mutually agreed now to change the profit sharing ratio, and then they have decided to go for new ratio, and the new ratio was 1:1:1. That means they are planning to share equally. Now what is happening here? Maybe they have tried to go for changing on the maybe on the maybe the reason will be there will be a possibility of role changing, capital contribution changing. This may be the possibility, right? But they agreed mutually to change. They agreed mutually to go with. So in that case, you can see the note which I have mentioned here. In such case, old partnership agreement ends and the new deed will be formed. Okay? क्या होगा? Old deed को हम end कर देंगे और new deed form करेंगे. Why the new deed is prepared? Because the ratio has changed. Their shares have changed, right? That could be one of the reasons. Now you can see in the red mark it has been mentioned. Whenever there is a changing in the profit sharing ratio में changes आ गया, क्या क्या changes आपको देखने मिलेगा? रेशियो चेंज होगा सबसे पहला. आफ्टर रेशियो शेयर्स चेंज होंगे. अगर कोई पार्टनर्स को हाफ प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ शेयर्स मिलता होगा उसके प्रॉफिट में, तो अगर इन केस जैसे शेयर्स हमने चेंजेस किए, इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन किए, तो हियर यू कैन सी द चेंजेस इज हैपनिंग. उसको 1/3 मिल रहा है इंस्टेड ऑफ half. So the basic going through with the idea here is whenever any shares has been changed, ratio changed, simultaneously shares also get changed. Now when the shares change, then you can see the note in the red mark which I have marked here is somebody will lose and somebody will gain. Definitely रेशियो बदल रहा है, शेयर्स बदल रहे हैं, तो देर विल बी डेफिनेटली पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ someone will be going to be gain and someone will definitely going to sacrifice. Okay, so now who will be sacrificed? Of course the one whose shares proportion of earlier and this new ratio are having a lower rate, then definitely he is sacrificing, he is losing, right? And the shares with the earlier with the new ratio, if it is going higher or gaining, then definitely that partner is going to be get the gain through this particular retirement or death. Okay, so this is a very good example which I have taken here, which talks about कि अगर profit sharing ratio बदलता है, so definitely with there will be a ratio change, there will be a shares change, and definitely one will be the loser and another one will be the gainer, right? We'll see this in the next slide, where one more example I have covered. This will give you a very clear idea about changing in shares, right? Let's see here what I have mentioned. When there is a change in profit sharing ratio among the existing partner, again let's see take the example partner A, B and C. Old ratio is how much? 3:2:1. Again here also in this case they agreed to change. They agreed to go for preparation of new ratio. Okay. So now here in this case also you can see the new ratio is 1:1:1, right? So now in this case, if you will see the old ratio, it is 3 is to 2 is to 1. If you will add up all, the total sum will get 6. Okay, 6. So here you can see the old ratio through how much A partner is getting a share, which is marked here in the black color. You can observe for A it is 3 by 6, B it is 2 by 6, and for C it is 1 by 6, right? So from these you can easily identify these are the shares from the old ratio to a partner. Now let's see new ratio. If you will see, it is 1 is to 1 is to 1, that means equal, right? So here in this case, one third and one third, in all the three partners will get at least one third of the proportion. Now here in this case, what is happening? Let's see the case A, partner A. 1/6 he is see here earlier old ratio was 3 by 6 and the new was 1 upon 3. So there is he is losing actually 1 by 6. How you can come to know there is a losing of 1 by 6? He's sacrificing. If you will see 3 by 6 old ratio, okay. If you will see 3 by 6 the old ratio, you can easily identify in the old ratio 3 by 6 half. The shares was how much? Half, right? He is getting a half shares in that. But in the new agreement, he will be getting only one third. आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे only one third share he is getting. This means A will lose share in the future profit. Okay, means A is going to sacrifice. So here you can apply a sacrifice ratio. From there you can come to know how much proportion he is losing, right? Where the sacrifice ratio will talk about old minus new. If you did old ratio minus new ratio, you will come to know the differences, and the differences is 1 upon 6. That means 1/6 portion of share A is losing, A is sacrificing. Okay, so for B is concerned, if I'll see the B is concerned, previously B is getting 2/6 share, 2/6, that means one third. अगर आप 2/6 बोलोगे तो भी मतलब वहां उसको कितना मिल रहा था? वन थर्ड शेयर मिल रहा था इन दी ओल्ड रेशियो में. ओके, एंड न्यू में हम देखा तो वहां पे भी देर इज अ वन थर्ड ओनली. Okay, that gives a clear idea. He is getting 1 by 3, means one third. It means B is neither a losing nor gaining. B is not at all losing also, and even he is not at all gaining also. Why? Because if you will see the old ratio and if you will see the new ratio, in both the cases he is getting one third of shares. Okay, that's why in B you can see it is clearly mentioned it's neither a losing nor a gain. Chalo, moving ahead to the C. Now let's see, look at C. Previously C was getting 1/6 share. You can see here 1/6 is mentioned, that is an old share. But as per new agreement, he will be getting one third share. New agreement mein, you can see in the white color it is mentioned 1 third, right? And black color is the old ratio where you can see the C's share was 1/6. So naturally in this case C is gaining 1/6. So if you look at the shares, so A is losing the share, that means he is sacrificed. B is neither a losing nor gaining. Okay, and if you see C, so C is the gaining. He is gaining the shares. One thing you should be very careful. One thing you have to be very careful. The gaining partner, C, the gaining partner gains what the sacrificing partner sacrifices. Very important. If the gaining partner is gaining 1/6 shares, which is equal to the share of the sacrificing partner, that means Mr. A or maybe partner A, then that should be equal. Very important. Again, I'll repeat. Again, I'll repeat here. The gaining partner gain what the sacrificing partner sacrifices. Gaining partner can't demand for additional shares. He will be getting only those proportion of share in the calculation where the partners has been find a loser of 1/6 share. The same 1/6 share total is coming for the C also. That means the That should be an equality while finding the calculation. Okay. Moving ahead to the another reconstitution of partnership. The next slide you can see the reconstitution of partnership. Prior going for the reconstitution for the second, I have mentioned here certain hint. You just keep in mind while going through with it. The very first is, if there is a change in ratio बदलता है तो shares भी change होंगे. ठीक है. Number two, अगर in case there will be somebody will be the loser, then definitely there will be a someone who will be the gainer, will gain. Okay. And the third is, gaining partner gain what sacrifice partner sacrifices. Gaining partner will not get additional. Gaining partner will gain only those proportion of share or those shares which the sacrificing partner sacrifices. He can't say sacrificing is 1/4 and now you give me here 1/6. No, it should be equal proportion. Okay, so this is a major hint which we can say for this. Moving ahead to the another reconstitution. Now the another reconstitution is nothing but admission of new partners. When any new partners get admitted in the business, okay, as you all know, any new partners when admitted, he will definitely bring what? He will bring capital. Not only capital, he will also bring, right, the number of shares, proportions, and all these things will be get changed, right? He will bring goodwill in a form of a cash. He will bring additional capital, as well as sometimes when old partner retires, then it becomes necessary also to admit a new partner in the business. Okay, so whenever any partners get admitted, so he will get admitted with certain terms and conditions, and that terms and condition which we will talks about is nothing but called as there will be a possibility of introducing a capital, introducing contribution in a form of a capital, or there will be a possibility of additional capital involvement. Here you can see the contribution of partnership. The partner can gain partnership interest by contributing cash to the partnership. Till that time, the new partner is not contributing the cash, right? The that cash is nothing but as a part of a proportion which a partner brings when he comes in or when they admit in the partnership. Remember, that is also possibility the new cash will increase the partnership net asset. हो सकता है, पॉसिबल है कि जब न्यू कैश आया तो वहां से once the cash has bring by the partner, of course the net asset of the partnership balance sheet is definitely. And when admitting the partner, there are two different approaches or methods, that is the bonus approach and the goodwill approach, that also I have mentioned here. So the number two reconstitution of partnership is nothing but admission of new partner. Next we will see in the next slide, after admission of partner, there are certain accounting implication which is needed to be do in the partnership firm, and what sort of that it is, right? So you can see here the very first thing, revaluation profit and loss. There should be a possibility to go for revaluation of profit and loss. Any gain or loss, if it is finded, in that case it should be distributed among the partners. That is what the very first admission of partners application we were talking about. Then number two is regarding the goodwill. Okay, accounting implication. So in goodwill, if you will see, the distributed, they distribute the goodwill, right? The goodwill is bringing by the partner in a form of a cash or maybe in a form of a kind. Okay, so that goodwill is being distributed among all the old partners, and it appears in the new, in the balance sheet, or maybe it will be appeared as a new asset in the form. So that goodwill will be appear in the balance sheet as a form of a new asset. Okay, so here we have seen the two accounting implications. Now let's see the accumulated profit and loss. अगर जो भी बचा हुआ accumulated profit and loss होगा, वो सारा profit and loss क्या किया जाएगा? It will be distributed among the old partners. This will be the third implication, accounting implication. Next we can move on the fourth, which is nothing but presentation of financial statement. So whenever the preparation or presentation of financial statement is done, in that case it has to be prepared till the date of the admission, and another from the date of the admission to the last date of financial. So when we say if a partners get admitted, so there will be a separated till admitted what will be the the overall financial statement, and after admitted what it. So you have to clearly mention all the both parameters. Next is regarding the profit sharing ratio. So a new ratio is decided, and the sacrificing ratio or old partner is calculated. Now, one thing to keep in mind here in this case, when we go for the admission of a partner, here you may find the profit sharing ratio. When the new partners ratio is decided, the sacrifice ratio is of the old partners get calculated. Okay. Next, we can move for the another reconstitution, that is the number third reconstitution. We can call it as a the third next slide will give you an idea about the retirement. Okay, we have learned the two implications. The very first we have seen the reconstitution will be happen or arise when there will be change in the profit sharing ratio. Second, we have seen there will be a changes is happen when the new partners get admitted. Okay, so next slide please. So in the next slide now you can see here the retirement of partner. Here in the retirement of partner, when the partner is usually goes for retirement, when these things is happening, right? So let's see what exactly the retirement of partner is. When one of more partners leave the firm and remaining partner continues to do the business of the firm. Okay, there will be a possibility one or two partner may leave, and the another partner who is not leaving, he is willing to continue the business, so they can continue. It's not necessary to wind up and dissolve. Okay, if any partner gets retired. Now let's see what could be the possibility why the partner is going to go for the retirement. There will be due to the reason like old age, poor health, maybe strained relationship in the firm where they find it quite difficult to sustain again or continue the business. Okay, there will be possibility of existing partners may decide to retire from the partnership firm. हो सकता है existing partner खुद से decide किया that I don't want to continue, I want to get retired. Okay, so these can be a possibility where the partnership retirement is concerned. But one thing keep in mind, due to retirement, the existing partnership comes to an end. अपना पुराना already continued जो partnership है वो end हो जाता है, and the remaining partner forms a new agreement, and the partnership firm is reconstituted with the new firm. अब क्या होगा, पुराना agreement end हो जाएगा, new agreement create होगा, and the partnership firm is reconstituted with the new terms and conditions. Right, फिर से हमको new terms and conditions को उसमें add करने को. Okay, the next is coming at the time of retirement, the retiring partner claim a settlement. Of course, there could be a possibility when the time of retirement comes, the existing partner or where the retiring partner will definitely claim for the settlement. Okay, so this is all about when and why the partners are opting or going for retirement. Okay, next slide you can see here is again the accounting implication. When we say retirement of partner, as I've just now conveyed you in the admission of partners, when any partners get admitted, there are certain accounting principles implication which we have to follow. Okay, same way in case of retirement, there are certain accounting implications. Like here, as I mentioned you, the very first thing is regarding the revaluation of profit and loss. Now, when there is a revaluing in the assets, okay, assets and liability should be revalued. So in that case, any gain or loss from those particular revaluation is to be distributed among all the partners, right? मान लो, for example, if you will see, there are certain assets, furniture, which is having a cost of rupees, 30,000. Now it has been that particular revalue after revaluing those furniture, now the amount is somewhere instead of 30 it is 50, so there is a differences of 20. That 20 is nothing but a profit on revaluation. That 20 is supposed to be distributed among the the remaining partner who are containing the business. Okay, So that is what the reconstitution of profit and loss. Next, when we will see is goodwill. Now, when partners get retired, what are the position of their goodwill? Now, when we see a goodwill, so goodwill is to be again distributed among all the partners. It appears as a new asset in the firm. As I've told you just now in the earlier accounting implication of admission, same way the same thing, same application, same accounting rule is being applicable here also, where you can see the goodwill is being distributed among the partners, and as well as it will be appear in the balance sheet as a new goodwill. Okay. Next is regarding the accumulated profit or loss. Whatever may be the accumulated profit, earlier profit are there in the business, it's are supposed to be shared among all the partners. Likewise, if there is a profit, that also supposed to share, and if there is a loss, then that also supposed to be shared. Okay. Next, we are talking about the partnership presentation of financial statement. ओके अगर आप रिटायरमेंट ऑफ पार्टनर्स का फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट प्रिपरेशन का अगर हमने बात किया तो हियर ओनली फॉर द इंटरनल पर्पस प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट इज मेड till the date of retirement, and the another from the date of retirement to the last date of financial year. Okay, see one thing keep in mind here, as I have just now conveyed in the admission also, कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं, एडमिशन ऑफ अ न्यू पार्टनर हो रहा है, टिल एडमिशन वॉट एवर दी financial statements are there, we are internally preparing. At the end, definitely we have to go for the partnership final account, a complete admitted partners account, right? But for internally, we are preparing, pre and post kind of financial statement, where pre-retirement what would be, post-retirement what would be in that. Okay. Next, you can see the profit sharing ratio. Okay. So the new ratio is decided. Gain ratio of remaining partner is to be calculated. Now, when we say retirement, there never be a sacrifice. There will be always a gain, right? So, in that case, the remaining partner is calculated. Remaining partner is possible to continue with the business. Okay. So, we have done with the third reconstitution. Now, we will move towards the fourth one. So, the next slide will give you the fourth, reconstitution of business. Now, the fourth reconstitution of business is nothing but death of a partner. Okay, अगर partners का natural occurrence of death हो जाता है, right? So this is the death of a partner, which we will talk about as the fourth reconstitution. Okay, so the partnership ceases to exist. Of course, when any partners die, the partnership is to be exist. But the firm may not cease to exist. Firm, as I have told you, agreement end हो जाता है, partners retired हो जाते हैं, if there is a possibility death of the partner हो जाता है, but the business never stops. Okay, so the firm may not cease to exist, as the other remaining partners may decide to continue the business. They will decide and they will continue the business, the market, right? In case of death of a partner, so what happened? The treatment of various items in the similar is a possibility. There will be a possibility the time of retirement of the partner. Okay, so here you may find in case of a death of a partner, the treatment of various items is similar to that of the time of retirement. There are no big changes. जैसे हम retirement के वक्त how you can treat the various firms, the calculative part, same as retirement, in the same pattern we have to apply for the death as well. Okay, so next we will move to the next slide, where you can see the further proportion, where we have we are going to see about the differences in the sacrifice and the gain ratio. Let me make it very clear here. The sixth, or maybe the reconstitution was merger of the partnership firm. The merger portion is again quite bigger. So as our topic is only a financial partnership final account, I'm not touching about the merger point. Okay, but for your knowledge, for your understanding, just keep in mind there are reconstitution happens when there will be a change in the profit sharing business, when there is a change in the when there will be a admission of a partner, when there will be a retirement of a partner, when there will be a death of a partner, right? So in all the cases, you can observe, you can see that there will be a possibility of going for the preparing of their ratios. Now here we are going to study about the differences in the ratio. Which ratio? Sacrificing and the gain ratio. First, we will see, as I've just now did the calculative part of calculation of the ratio. There we have already covered this. Just giving you a brief idea. When we say sacrificing ratio, this ratio is calculated when the partners are get admitted. अभी भी partners अगर admitted होगा, admit किया, so new partners have comes in the business, admitted in the business, then in that case we have to calculate the sacrifice ratio. Why? Because if any new partner admitted, the earlier partners definitely have to sacrifice the sharing proportion of profit. So that's why sacrifice ratio occurs only in the case of admission of partners. Next, it's calculated to know how much each partner needs to sacrifice for the new partner. Very important. Here, why the sacrifice ratio is needed, why it is calculated? It is calculated only to find it out. Alright? क्या find करना है हमको? To find out whether each partner needs to sacrifice for the new partner. How much amount each partner needs to sacrifice. Okay? Then next is it's helping in calculating compensation to be paid by new partner to the old partner. Okay. Here when we say sacrificing, na, when any new partners get admitted, कभी भी new partners business में admit होते. So when they admitted, in that case you may find okay, when he comes in the business, when he admit in the business, he brings certain amount in a form of a capital, right? So he brings capital in a form of a cash, in a form of a goodwill, like that, right? So when he brings the capital or in a form of a cash or goodwill, that will be shared with the sacrificing partner. Why? Because when any new partner get admitted, the sacrificing partner is the one who sacrifices for him, right? So this is very important that you have to take care of. Next, we go for the gain ratio. As I told you, gain ratio is calculated when the partners are get retired or death. Okay. In such case, this ratio is being calculated to know how much each partner will gain. जैसे हमने sacrifice में देखा how much each partner needs to pay, sacrifice. Same way here we have to see how much each partner needs to gain, right? When a partner retired from or retired or dies in the organization, right? It also helps to calculate compensation to be paid by the containing partner. कि containing partner को कितना compensation pay करना है for the outgoing partner. Okay, okay, how much amount or how much proportion the existing partner in the business, the containing partner in the business are supposed to contribute as a compensation for the outgoing partner, that is a retired partner or a death or a death of a partner. Okay, so this is what about we have studied about the sacrificing and the gain ratio and its difference. Moving ahead to the next slide, where you can see here in the next slide, they have very clearly mentioned after the finding out the sacrifice and the gain ratio. Let's move to calculate the ratio. Okay, now when you go for calculation of the ratios, can I get the next slide please? Yeah, so now when we go for the calculation of the ratio, here you can see again what I did here, the illustration, the calculation of ratios. I have put it up here three different samples of ratios. New ratio when the very first reconstitution is done on changing basis. Okay, then second I have taken here the next, which is the sacrifice ratio, when it will be happen when any new partners get admitted in this. Third practical problem of calculation of ratio I have taken on retirement or maybe a death, when a new partner gets retired from the business, that is a gain ratio. So let's see, these are the three practical examples. Let's start with this one. You can see in the slide it is clearly mentioned, right, a calculation of new profit sharing ratio. Here in this case we have to calculate the new profit sharing ratio. Suppose the old ratio of partner A and B is given, which is 3:2. 3:2 हमारे पास old ratio दिया हुआ. Okay. And C admitted. C will be the new partner who is admitting in the business. While he is admitting or entering the business, he admitted with the terms, with the condition that he will be getting 1/4 of the shares of the business. Okay, उसको कितने shares मिलेंगे? 1/4 shares मिलेंगे business. Okay. Now find out the new profit sharing ratio. Now we have to calculate the new profit sharing ratio. Now for calculating the new profit sharing ratio, you can see here. Let's see. Let the total ratio be 1. मान लो total ratio 1 है. So therefore, let's leftover part is what? 1 में से 1/4 तो C का part है. That means 3/4 is left, which you can see in the yellow color. It has been mentioned. Okay. I'll again repeat here. If we think let the total ratio is 1, then 1/4 तो हमने commit कर दिया ना, किसको मिलेगा? C को मिलेगा. तो if I remove the 1/4 part from it, so the leftover part is 3/4. Okay. Now when you will calculate the ratio, okay, A shares अगर हमने देखा तो old was 3/5. Okay. And the leftover part we have to take. Very important is the leftover part, which is 3/4. So you can see the ratio is coming 9/20. 9 is numerator and 20 is mentioned under the denominator. Okay. Same way, let's see the case of B share. Again, in B also you can see the old is 2/5. Okay. And the leftover part is how much? 3/4. So you can see here it is how much? 6/20. Okay. ऐसे ही आप C का शेयर देखोगे तो C का शेयर इज नथिंग बट 1/4 है. But to make a common denominator, okay, so that I could give a proper proportion of shares to the each partner, I can give a proper sharing proportion ratio to each partner. So for that I need to make my denominator common. मुझे मेरा denominator common करना पड़ेगा. Okay. Now to make my denominator common, what is needed? I have to multiply with 5 in case of C shares. If I multiply by 5 in numerator, same way in the denominator, then I may get 5/20. And through this answer, you may find there are 20 denominator is common. 20 is mentioned in the denominator which is common. Okay. So the ratio can be formed and that ratio is nothing but 9:6:5. Okay. So this way हम new profit sharing ratios को calculate कर सकते हैं. Moving ahead in the another slide, in the next slide you can see here we were taking an example of sacrificing ratio. चलो मान लो अगर हमको भी sacrifice ratios calculate करना है. For sacrifice ratio, which reconstitution is applicable? Admission. When any partners get admitted, even for the profit sharing ratio also, changing profit sharing ratio, वहाँ भी admission का chances होता है. No problem. So A and B are partners sharing profit in the ratio of 6:4 and C admitted as a partner. Again, यहाँ पे C is admitting as a partner. And the new profit sharing ratio of A, B and C is 10:6:4. Okay. Find out the sacrifice. Now here we have to find out the sacrificing ratio. अगर आप sacrificing ratio ये केस में अगर देखते हो, so in this case sacrifice ratio is the formula for the sacrifice ratio is mentioned in the yellow color, which you can see here. Old ratio minus new ratio. Okay. So the old ratio of the business is of the firm is how much? 6/10. And the new ratio is how much? 10/20. Okay. One thing keep in mind, sacrifice ratio will be always calculated among the old partners. Okay. There will be no fresh or new partner. New partners को कभी भी हम sacrifice ratio में sharing calculation नहीं आते, because he admit as a fresh new partner, so he will get the share in the profit, but he will not be a part of sacrifice. So sacrifice ratio में आप A sacrifice how much? 2/20 and B sacrifice how much? 2/20. Now how you come to know this 2/20, how it is calculated? So you can see here we have did the LCM. If you will see 6/10 minus 10 upon 20 is there. If you will multiply 6 into if you will see the calculation of A sacrifice, so A is sacrifices by the way of like 6 upon 20 is given, right? So you have to go by 6 into 20 cross multiply. Same way 10 into 10 and divided by the 10 into 20, right? So you can come to know okay 2 upon 20 or getting as a sacrifice part. Same way आप B का देखो, B का again cross multiply and find out. You will come to know the ratio is 2 upon 20. That means this gives the idea here the sacrifice ratio of A and B is nothing but 1 is to 1. Equal ratio they are sharing. Okay. So this is the example of your sacrifice ratio. Next we will move with the next slide, the calculation example of gain ratio. Okay. So here I have put it one illustration how the gain ratio is being calculated. Now for gain ratio, if you will see, we have X, Y, Z are sharing partners and they are sharing the profit and losses in the ratio of 4 is to 3 is to 2. Okay. And Z retires. Here Z retires. If Z retires, the new ratio of X and Y is 3 is to 2. Calculate the gain ratio. See, here in this case, what is happening? Its retirement is happening, death is occurred. So in that cases, you may find कि आपको gain ratio calculate करना पड़ेगा. Gain ratio formula is totally opposite than the sacrifice ratio. Here what we do, we in gain ratio we deduct the old ratio from the new ratio. हमको new ratio में से old ratio को क्या करना होगा? Deduct करना पड़ेगा. So you can see here in X shares of gain, you can see they have mentioned 3 upon 5. 3 is numerator and 5 is denominator minus with the new shares, and new is how much? 4 upon 5. You can see here it's 4 upon 9 and next is 3 upon 9. तो आप ऐसे ही x का gain और y का gain निकाल सकते हो. And here it is nothing but did the same way as I have told you just now. Cross multiply, denominator multiplied. You can see here 45,000. 45 is mentioned. So 3 into 9 किया तो आपको 45 का value आ जाता है, right? And by this way you can able to calculate your gain ratio, and the gain ratio has appear as 7 is to 3. So the gain ratio of X and Y is 7 is to 3. Okay. So again I'll repeat it. Sacrifice ratio से gain ratio में the formula is bit differ. In the gain ratio, what we have done, we have taken a new ratio minus old ratio. Okay. And when this gain ratio will be take on which reconstitution of partnership, here retirement and death cases में you may find there will be a calculation of gain ratio. Okay. So here we did the reconstitution of partnership. It's a very big unit. It's a very big content which we have covered. You may find in your syllabus a separate chapter, especially for HSC students. You may find in your syllabus there is a separate chapter for retirement, admission, death, or maybe like any other resolution if it is there. Okay. So moving ahead with the next slide, where we are going to learn now the another concept, that is goodwill. Okay, how you will make treat the treatment of goodwill in the firm. Okay, the very first we will see here, when goodwill of the entire firm is raised and retained in the business. मान लो goodwill is raised, and same way what happened, the goodwill is retaining in the business. What I am saying here, retaining means we are not written off. The goodwill is not write off, it is retained. So in that case, when the goodwill is retained, you can see how the journal entry could be passed. Here the journal entry will be goodwill account debit to all partners capital. Meaning here what we are doing, we are not written off the goodwill. Goodwill will appear in the balance sheet, right? So when goodwill is appear, the goodwill account debit to all the partners. Okay. Second case, अगर आप goodwill का देखोगे, so in second case it is mentioned when goodwill of the entire firm is raised and then write off. What they did, first they raised the goodwill, and after raising the goodwill has been write off. फिर write off कर दिया है. तो वैसे केस में आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे I have mentioned the journal entry when goodwill is raised, so the first entry will be similar, the raise entry, which we did in the first entry, where goodwill account debit to all partner capital. But here what is happening, the goodwill raised किया, फिर उसको written off कर दिया. So when the goodwill is written off, the containing partner account will be get debited. Of course, it will be taken as a new profit sharing ratio and to goodwill. Why? Because goodwill not appear in the new balance sheet. Okay. The first was the case where the goodwill is being raised and retained in the business. So that's why it is appearing in the balance sheet. Retain कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए balance sheet में हमको appear करना पड़ेगा, दिखेगा. ठीक है. Second case में what they are doing, they are raising the goodwill but not retaining, it is being write off. When the goodwill is write off, तो आप देखोगे कि goodwill के balance sheet में you will not find the goodwill in the balance sheet assets. Okay. Next we can see the another case. Another case you can see here, when goodwill is raised to the extent of retiring partner share and retain in the business. Goodwill is raised, but not for all the containing partners, only for the retiring partner. So no doubt the entry will be same. Goodwill raised entry only. Instead of writing the containing partner, I'll write retiring partner. Okay. So the entry will become goodwill account debit to retiring partner capital. Okay. Next you can see, and what will happen here also in this case, goodwill is raised by whom? By the retiring partner, and it is retaining also. No? When the goodwill is retaining means what? That gives a very clear idea. When goodwill is raised and retained, then that indicates definitely it will appear in the balance sheet assets. Goodwill will appear in the balance sheet assets. Okay. Next again we'll see the another transaction or cases when goodwill is raised to the extent of retiring partner. Same as we seen in the third adjustment. Goodwill raise कर रहा है, कौन कर रहा है? Retiring partner ही कर रहा है. And then it is write off. फिर goodwill क्या हो रहा है? Write off कर दे रहे हैं. It will not be retaining in the business. So that means it is not appear in the balance sheet. Of course ये तो clear हो गया. Goodwill will not appear in the balance sheet. First entry, raise entry will be as similar. Goodwill account debit to retiring capital account. Okay. But the second entry will be containing partner capital to goodwill. Why? Because we have to calculate here the gain ratio. आपको यहाँ पे gain ratio calculate करके जो gaining partners है, maybe two partner, whoever the gaining partner, so that name will appear and the goodwill not be seen in the balance sheet. Why? Because the goodwill has written off. If the goodwill is retained, then only it will be appear in the balance sheet. The last transaction of the goodwill which you can see here is in case goodwill already appear in the old balance sheet. मान लो goodwill old balance sheet में already appeared है. So in that case, what you will do? When the goodwill is already appeared, then in that case, the differences in the goodwill amount can be shown. Already appear है, पहले से ही आपको balance sheet में goodwill दिखाई दे रहा है, तो वो goodwill को अपने new goodwill जो adjustment में दिया होगा उसको compare करो आप, differences निकालो. Okay. And the differences which you people are getting, that differences are supposed to be are supposed to be either shown on the profit and loss adjustment revaluation account, or you can see that in the partners capital or capital account or a current account. There you can see this has been appeared. Okay. So this is what about the treatment of the goodwill is. One thing keep in mind, if the goodwill is raised and retained, definitely the goodwill amount will appear in the balance sheet. But if the goodwill doesn't raise or maybe raise but doesn't retain, right? So that case we can able to go for the right. Okay. So this is what about the treatment of goodwill is all about. Now we are slowly moving ahead with the another perspective. After treatment of goodwill, we will see the another slide, that is method of capital account. Okay. Now when we say a method of capital account, now in method of capital account there are different methods. And but very important is why this capital account is to get created in the partnership firm. Okay, so amount in cash or kind brought in by the partner. Of course, when the partner comes in the business, okay, he brings certain amount in a form of a cash, in a form of a kind, and to manage the business activities in terms of in terms of capital, the partner maintain and operate some methods of the capital account. What the partners do, they maintain certain methods through which the capital account are supposed to be get prepared. So that method is nothing but called as the two methods of preparing the capital account. Now here one more thing you have to keep it very clearly in the mind. There will be two possibilities. Okay, what are those two possibilities? Very first method of capital will be of two. One, fixed capital method, या तो fixed capital method applicate करके बनाया. When there is a fixed capital, you are supposed to prepare the two accounts. One is capital account, another is current account. Okay, but when there will be a fluctuating capital method, fluctuate हो रहा है, बढ़ रहा है, कम हो रहा है, fluctuating capital method, in that case you are supposed to prepare the capital account. You have to prepare the capital. We are going to see this in detail and then we'll go with the practical problem also. Now next slide will give you fixed capital में, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, there will be two method of preparing the capital. Okay, so the capital method is very first is fixed capital and another is fluctuation. अभी diagrammatically you have already seen in the earlier slide कि when we say a method of capital, there will be fixed capital where you are supposed to prepare the two accounts. One is capital, another is the current. Okay, when any of the firm is opted the fluctuation capital method, so they prepare only one, that is the fixed capital method account. Okay, so partners capital account is the only account which they are supposed to prepare. Now let's see what exactly the fixed capital method means. अगर आप फिक्स कैपिटल मेथड की बात करो तो फिक्स कैपिटल मेथड एक्चुअली किस लिए हेल्प होता है? When we say a fixed capital method, here the method is adopted by the partner open a new account in a firm. Why they adopt this? They adopt and formed a new partner current account. They prepare a new partner current account and all the related capital adjustments. Okay, all the related capital adjustment, as rightly Dr. Arvind Lohar sir have conveyed you all. He said regarding the capital adjustment. So whatever the capital adjustment like interest, partners capital drawings, or maybe their you can say the commissions, their salaries, all these things, brokerage, their share of profits, and these all things has been recorded under the partners capital account. Okay, so these all things you are supposed to mention under the partners capital account. Here you can also see the pro forma, and through the pro forma you work accordingly, where you will have a partners capital account. You can see the debit side is the balance mentioned, and the credit side it was mentioned as cash in the partner who bring additional cash, the earlier cash balances, the asset, and any capital which is being bring in the form of a kind. So this is what your partner's capital account is. Next we will see the partner current account. So in the next slide you can see the partner current account. Okay, so in the here in the partner current account you can see what we did. हमने सारे capital adjustments यहाँ पे किए. Okay, हमने जो कैश लाया पार्टनर्स ने, जो भी चीजें ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग कैश थे जो हमने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किए, दैट वी हैव शोन इन दी सेपरेट पार्टनर कैपिटल अकाउंट. और वो कैपिटल अकाउंट पे कैपिटल पे होने वाले जो एडजस्टमेंट्स है वो हम पार्टनर करंट अकाउंट में लाते. तो हियर यू कैन सी इन दी पार्टनर करंट अकाउंट the drawings are given, interest on drawing, profit and loss in case of shares of the losses. Then next there will be a interest on capital, salary, commission is mentioned on the credit side. So these is the actual pro forma which we usually say for the partners capital account and the partners current account. The only variation in both the method of capital which you can see is हम सिर्फ फिक्स्ड कैपिटल में क्या कर रहे हैं, कैपिटल अकाउंट और करंट अकाउंट सेपरेटली बना रहे हैं. ओके, these are the things which we are doing. But in the next, that means in the fluctuating method, we are preparing only a capital account. Okay, only we are preparing a capital account where we will write all the cash, all the capital of the firm, as well as all the adjustment. हम सारे adjustment भी उसी में ही mention करेंगे in the capital. Okay, so fixed we have covered. Moving ahead with the next slide where you can see the fluctuation capital method. Okay, so this is what the fluctuation capital method is. Let's see in fluctuation what is happening. Fluctuation, just now as I told you, in fluctuation capital method, all the drawings, interest, or maybe any profit and loss or any other source. So any this kind of यानी कि हमने drawing दिया, partners has to withdraw the money. Okay, they have transferred certain money. So these all will be mentioned. We call these all adjustment as a capital adjustment. And these all such capital adjustment we are supposed to do under the capital account. Okay, so with these you can understood the method, capital methods. One was fixed method, another was fluctuating. Okay, in fixed method what we did, we have taken the all the capital balances or maybe the additional balances brings by the partner in the capital account separately. And what current account do, current account have all the capital adjustments which is being bring under the partner current account. But in fluctuating capital method, in the second method which is fluctuating capital method, you have to accommodate in the same account all the activities like partners, in case of partners capital, contribution, cash, along with all these things, we have to even mention in that account as what could be the sharing proportion. Along with that, what are the capital being distributing among the next two partner, distributed among the next two partner in a form of interest on capital, interest on drawing, or any all capital adjustments. These all you are supposed to do under the capital account here only. Okay, in the fluctuation. Now let's take one illustration of this. Next slide will give you the illustration. Quickly and at a glance, we will quickly wind up with this. This will be our last part for our today's session. And for the further practical part of going through with the preparation of actual final account, as sir have rightly said regarding training, P&L and balance sheet, that all we are going to cover in our tomorrow's session. Okay, so let's take our capital account or maybe the methods of capital implementing in the problem. Here we have an illustration. Let's read the illustration very carefully, and students you can jot down what are the bullet points or the things which is there in the question. Anand and Bharat are the partners, and what they do, they share profit and losses in the ratio of 2:3. So 2:3 क्या है actually PSR है, profit ratio है of Anand and Bharat. Okay, as on which date, 1st July 2019. Sorry, it's 1st April 2019. The capital balance are Anand rupees 60,000 and the Bharat is 30,000. Okay, now the capital balance is also given कि Anand का 60 है और Bharat का 30 है. Okay, then the drawings have also given. Anand it was 12 and Bharat it was 10,000. Okay, as per the agreement, partners are allowed 10% interest on capital. Okay, as per the agreement, as per the deed, it is clearly mentioned partners are allowed to go with the 10% interest on the capital and the 12% interest on the drawing. Okay, these are the conditions or terms which is mentioned. Anand gets salary. How much salary? 2,500 per month. And Bharat is entitled to get a commission 3% on the net sale, which is rupees 5 lakh. Okay, so these two is separately. Anand is having a salary and Bharat is having a commission as their income. Okay, the firm profit is 60. As you all know, the profit of the firm is to be supposed to distributed among the old partner on their ratio. So that we will do here. Next is what they are expecting you to prepare. They expect you to prepare partners capital account for the year 31st March 2019. They are expecting you to prepare the partners capital account for 31st March. Okay. Now, on which method? Here they have used both the method. They said आपको दोनों method में बनाना है. You have to prepare the fixed capital method also and another that is fluctuating capital method also. Both the method through you have to prepare the capital. Both the capital method you have to adopt. Let's take the first part, that is fixed capital. Okay, you can see in the next slide. It is mentioned as fixed capital. The calculation will be what? You have to prepare capital account and the current account. Okay. Okay. Before explaining this, I'll go for the working note. Can I get the next slide, please? Let's see the working note first. In the next slide, here you can see the working. Students very carefully go through with this calculation. हमने देखा था इंटरेस्ट ऑन कैपिटल, यानी कि कैपिटल को कैपिटल पे पार्टनर्स को इंटरेस्ट कितना परसेंट है? 10%. तो आनंद कैपिटल इज हाउ मच? 60. 10% becomes 6,000. Bharat capital is how much? 30. Okay, so his amount will become 3,000. तो हमने ये इंटरेस्ट ऑन कैपिटल कैलकुलेट कर लिया. सेम वे ड्राइंग्स मेंशन किया है. अब ड्राइंग भी देख लो. Anand drawing was 12,000 and Bharat drawing was 10,000. Okay, and the rate of drawing rate of interest on drawing is given, which is 12%. Okay, 12% का rate of interest. And the very important thing which you can see here is I have taken 6 upon 12. What it is? It is 6 months. It's nothing but 6 months. How you will come to know the 6 months we have to take? Kindly read the note which I have mentioned. Interest on drawing always to be taken for 6 months in case date of drawing is not mentioned. Okay. अब आप ये केस में आनंद और भरत के देख सकते हो. They have given you the interest on drawing percentage, but they don't given you how many months. So in such case, we can't charge for the whole year drawing interest. We have to charge only for the 6 months. And that 6 month interest is 720 and 600. This was the interest, and that's why I have taken 6 months. I hope this is clear to all. Next is commission to Anand. आनंद को कमीशन कितना मिल रहा है? 5 लाख नेट सेल वैल्यू दिया है आपको क्वेश्चन में. उसका 3% कम्स 15,000. दिस इज द इनकम ऑफ द आनंद. सेम वे अगर हमने भरत का देखा तो व्हाट दे गिव्स, Bharat is getting Bharat is entitled for a commission. Sorry, here it is supposed to Bharat. Bharat is getting a commission and Anand is getting a salary. आनंद को सैलरी कितना है? 2,500 है. मल्टीप्लाई बाय 12 कर लो तो आपको पता चलेगा हाउ मच सैलरी इज अर्निंग. 30,000 एज देयर सैलरी. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट वी कम फॉर द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट. Now, when we say a distribution of profit, the profit of the company is already mentioned in the question, which is 60,000. So that 60,000 we have given as per the profit sharing ratio, which is 2:3. So Anand will be getting a 24,000 as their distributed profit, and the Bharat will be getting as 36 as their distributed profit. Okay. If you remember, if you see this working note, this working note is clearly giving you the idea of provision of Indian Partnership Act 1932. If you remember, when I was explaining you the provision of Indian Partnership Act, that I have explained you, there are certain bullets which you have to be very careful while calculating. It will definitely come as a part of your working note. So these all which I have mentioned here, interest on capital, interest on drawing, commission, salary, distribution of profit, these all are the provision which is already mentioned in the Indian Partnership Act 1932. On that base, we have did this working note part. Okay. Now let me go with the earlier slide. Can I get the earlier slide? Now in the earlier slide, this will give you a clear idea. Let's see what it is. Here they gives you partners capital and partners current account. Means हमको अगर fixed capital बनाना है, in fixed capital method हमको 2 अकाउंट बनाने पड़ते हैं. एक होता है पार्टनर कैपिटल और एक होता है पार्टनर्स करंट अकाउंट. राइट. पार्टनर्स कैपिटल में आपने देखा होगा, हियर आई हैव मेंशन ओपनिंग बैलेंसेस लाए हैं ऑन द क्रेडिट साइड. Okay, partner capital is a liability, so liabilities opening always appear on the credit side. Okay, so you can see here it is mentioned how much, 60 and 30, 60,000 and 30,000, Anand and Bharat. Okay, and you can see no further adjustment, no further entries are appearing in the capital account. Why? Because on those capital, whatever the adjustments are there under fixed capital method, what we do, we mention all that thing in our partners current account. ठीक है, so हमने वो सारी चीजें कहाँ लाई है, partners current account. Now you can see in the partners current account, interest on capital हमने किसको mention किया, what we have calculated in our working note, and we got 6,000 and 3,000. Anand and Bharat लिख दिया. There was a salary of Anand, 30,000. We have mentioned that on the credit side. There was a commission which he earned by the Bharat, and that was 15,000. That also we have mentioned. There is a profit of earlier years which we are supposed to share among the accumulated profit, which I am supposed to share among the partners. So that we have shared 24 and 36 is nothing but our profit which we have shared on the ratio. सेम वे आप डेबिट पे आके देख लो, डेबिट साइड वी हैव ड्राइंग, ड्राइंग में भी पार्टनर्स के आनंद एंड भरत बोथ दी पार्टनर्स ड्राइंग आई हैव मेंशनड हियर 12,000 and 10,000. Interest on drawing, so you can see interest we did calculation in the working note where we have taken interest of 12% for 6 months on drawing balance, on drawing value. Okay, so through that we got that interest on drawing, and the final differences which is nothing but the balance of the partner current account. You can see here 47,280 and 43,400. This is what your fixed capital account, fixed capital method of capital. Now let's see fluctuation hoga. As I've already told you, in the case of fluctuation, what we have to do is we have to prepare only one account, right? And that one account is nothing but we called it as a partner capital account. What we do in this, we record all the things here itself. There is no separation of capital, no separation of capital adjustments. Everything is being mentioned in the partner capital account only. Okay, so let's see. If you see here by balance लिख के आपको amount mention किया है, that amount is nothing but the opening balance or the balance of the partners. Then same like earlier partner current account, वैसे ही यहाँ पे भी आप देख सकते हो. In this case method also interest on capital will appear, both Anand and Bharat. Salary will appear, commission will appear because commission was belong to the Bharat. Profit sharing is done in both. Okay, same way you can see on the debit side there was a drawing which is mentioned, then interest on drawing is mentioned, and the balances you can see here the balance is huge, big one, which is 1,07,380. how this is arrived, अगर आपने total देखा fixed installment method का या fixed capital method का, in fixed capital method हम वही चीज को bifurcation करके लिख रहे. there what we did, हमने capital में separate लिखा और same way हमने current में separate लिखा. so we were having two balances there. that two balance if you will add, so Anand balance you will get the same. जैसे for example I'll show you here, okay, the capital side of Anand on fixed capital side is showing as 60, और वही जगह आपने current में देखा तो 47,780. if you make this both total you will get 1,07,280. okay, so only thing what we did here in this case is हमने उसको both ही चीजों को इकट्ठा मिला के एक ही अकाउंट में मैनेज किया. so it is on the hand of the partnership or the partners, or it is in the deed which method the partners are adopting while going with the partnership deed. Whether partnership partners are opting for the fixed capital method or they are opting for the fluctuating capital method, they have to mention this method very clearly in the partnership deed. so accordingly further calculation will be maintained, accordingly the further accounts are supposed to be maintained. okay, so till here we have did our the basic part. Along with that I have covered the ratios which is connected. We have taken reconstitution of the partnership. We have also taken here The further part, which is nothing but we call as a treatment of goodwill, how it will be, how we will going to be go for calculation of methods of capital, which methods it is, and how the partners will work upon. Okay. So with these, I have covered for our today's session, part one session, which was based on giving you the glimpses about the entire partnership. This we did only because we were trying to cover our HSC, SYBCom, and SYBAF, all the students. So this particular session will give you the glimpses or ideas about the entire partnership firm with the few technical part of capital adjustments. Okay. So if in case of any questions are there, I'm ready to answer questions, because from my end today's session is covered. We'll again move tomorrow for the further practical part regarding the uh, going for the practical problems based on partnership final account. So in case of any questions are there, I will really happy to answer those. If Vignesh or Riddhi will be there to kindly see if any. Okay, if there is any questions, so kindly we could go. Yes, if any questions, if any students may have, so kindly put up in the chat box. I could answer from there as well. Vignesh, is there any question? Riddhi, am I able to see any questions if it is there from the student side? Okay, what we will do, in case of any questions, if you are